Welcome to the day 7 of this session, Introduction to Quantum Computation. And today we will be covering expectation, how to find the expectation value of an operator in quantum mechanics, and then we will relate that to finding the lowest eigenvalue of a matrix. Okay, so let me share my screen first. Okay, just tell me when you guys can see my screen. It should be visible now.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, it is up.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So the first thing that you need to know is what's expectation value. Uh, Expectation value. Okay. So let's say uh, we have a set something like this, and we are rolling a dice. Okay. So this is a number that came on dice. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and 6. Let's say 6 too. So in a non-biased coin, you will get these things. If n is, let's say, 10, then you will make it 100. So you will get 100 divided by 6 for each, like more or less this thing, right? So, but for now, I'm going to take that this is not a fully non-biased coin. I will take it something like biased coin. Okay, so let's say we get this like 10 times, and we get this 20 times. We get this thing 30 times. This one 25 times. What 10, 20, 30. This is 60, 60, 70, 85, and this, let's say, 5 times, and this let's say 10 times. Okay, so what's the probability? Say probability of getting a 1. You can say that it's 10 divided by 1000. Sorry, 100. It's 0.1, right? And what's probability of getting a 3? So it's 30 divided by 100, and that's something like 3 by 10, 0.3. Okay, so these are the probability of finding this 1 and 3. So if you say you roll a dice, what would be the maximum probability, like what state will have the maximum probability of like coming up? It will be 3, right? It has 0.3 probability. But sometimes we don't need this. What we need is a kind of a average value that we will get if we roll a dice. Okay, so we call that average value as expectation. Okay, I shouldn't write like this. Okay, wait. We call this expectation. Sorry. Expectation value. Uh, what is this expectation value? It's something like if you roll a dice, what's the like something like expected value of that dice to be in, not the maximum probability thing. Something like let's say where we use it. Let's say you are like what can I say, a finance manager of a company. Okay, and they ask you that what's the expected value of the profit that we will be getting. if we put a certain amount of money. Okay, then you can say that if you put this amount of money, you will get this much profit. If you get this much, then the probability of getting profit is 10%. Okay, let me make that one. Okay, so you can say that probability of getting 10% profit is 0.1, just like this one, and getting 20% profit is something like 0.2%, sorry, 0.2. But they don't need this thing. They need that if I put my money, what is the expected amount, what is the average amount of profit that I will be getting. So for that case, we use expected value. Okay, so you can see this expected value something like average. Like, let's say you are driving a car, and for 10 kilometer you are at a speed of 20 kilometer per second, uh, and for next 10 kilometer you are at 50 kilometer per second, let's say, and for next 20 kilometer you are something like 100 kilometer per second. Okay, so for here we calculate average velocity, right? Average velocity. If we want to reach at a place that is some kind of, let's say, a distance x, so we need an average velocity such that we can divide this by this v average, and we can say that we will be in time with expected time of this thing. We don't actually need the probability thing, like saying them that I will drive with a speed of 20 kilometer for first 10 kilometer, then 50 kilometer per hour with for the next 10 kilometer or something like that. You will give the average velocity, something like I will drive at a, for long distance I will drive at a like average velocity of something 58 kilometer per hour, something like that. So so in most of the cases, in statistical mechanics and other implications of that, like business management, finance, and other stuff, we use expectation value, not the probability thing. Okay, so how the expectation value is been defined? We need a average value that we will get if we roll a dice. So it's defined in a way that getting a 1, we have a probability 0.1. Getting a 2 is has a probability of 0.2. Sorry, this will be into. Getting a 3 has a probability 0.3. Getting a 4 has a probability 0.25, and getting a 5 has a probability of 0.05, and something like this, plus 6 into 0.1. Okay, and then what we say is, if we calculate this thing, then we will get our expectation value. Okay, so what does this thing mean? It means that you will get 1 0.5 times, 2 0.2 times, 3 0.5 times, and 4 0.25 times, something like this. So if we see this in a grand scale, something like we roll a dice thousand of time. Okay, and for 100 times we get 1. So it's something like this: 100 times we get 1, for 200 times we get 2, and something like this, like this set will be 1 1 1 1 1 for something 200 times, sorry, 100 times. Okay, let's make it a 100, like this one. 10 times, then 2 to 2 will be 20 times, then 3 3 dot 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 3 will be 30 times, something like this. Okay, and what's the average value of that set that I asked you guys earlier about? Like what will it be? 1 plus 1 into 20, as 1 plus 1 20, and 2 is 20 times, sorry, it will be 10, sorry, this 20 into 2, plus this is 30 times, 30 into 3, plus this, then this is 10 times plus 10 into 6. Then you will divide by number of these terms, like 1 2 3, so you will get 100. And if you do this thing, this is the average value that you will get if you roll a die, something like this. So if you do this, you will get 1 into 0.2 plus 2 into 0.2, sorry, plus 3 into 0.3, something like that. So expectation value is nothing but average value that you will get if you roll a dice. Okay, did you guys understand this? What a expectation value means? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So why do we want this expectation value in our quantum computation, quantum mechanics? So if I if I have covered this or not, I don't know, but okay, if I haven't covered this, just poke me and tell me that I haven't covered that thing, and I should explain that a bit. Okay, so I have told you guys that a quantum particle is is kind of distributed thing. It don't have a specific position, specific momentum, and other physical properties. Right? It's correct. It's probabilistic. So position of a quantum particle is probabilistic, something like this. If you have a mean value at 0 0, like like if you have something like potential well of something this, you can have a momentum of this, something like this, or it will be this also, and the energy states are something like this, and uh, so these are probabilistic. They are not like defined like a specific what can I say, a classical way, in classical, specifically in classical way. Like it's not like a particle is here means the particle is here. In quantum, it's something like a cloud. The particle can be here with a probability of 0.5. A particle can be in this region with a probability of 0.2. A particle can be in this region with 0.2, make it a 25, and for the next one 0.05, something like that. So it's in classical we can say that it's here. For in quantum we can't say that it's here. It's region based, like this. Then then for this one it's this, and some and for this it's something like this. Okay, so if we want to work with this particle, we need a average value. In classical language, we need average value of this particle position. Okay, and in probability and statistical, we call it as expectation. So what we need to work with this particle, we need expectation value of its physical physical properties. Okay, so let's say we are working with, okay, what can I say? Uh, let's say we are working with a classical particle, and we have potential well something like this. Okay, so you can say that a particle will be here, then its energy is defined as E naught. Then it will have something like, uh, okay, wait, what happened? Okay, uh, let's say, what can I say? 2 by 3 E naught as uh, as its kinetic energy, and 1 by 3 E naught as its potential energy. Okay, potential energy. But in quantum mechanics, defining its position to be this one, like x naught. But in quantum mechanics, you can't define a position of a element. It's given by a function like this. Schrodinger equation of, of that particle. Okay, so for there you can't say that a particle, if a particle is here, then its probability is this, so it will have something like this energy distribution. Okay, so what we need is, we need expectation value of the position. So what can I say? That if I observe a particle that's in this potential, in this potential, let's say this is V, sorry, this is V, this is X, this is X, this is X, this is potential graph. Okay, so if you we can say that uh, its expectation value is, let's say, given by some x naught. Okay, so we can say that if we observe a particle, then its position is expected to be around this x naught, and with respect to this x naught we will find this distribution, and we can say that if you observe a particle in this specific environment, you can get a energy distribution related to this x naught, as, let's say, something, let's say 1 by 2 E naught and 1 by 2 E naught. Energy at x naught is defined in this way. Okay, so you can say that expectation value of position is this, then the expectation value of energy will be something like this. Okay, so we use this expectation value as our particle is of probabilistic nature. Okay, so how we define expectation value in our quantum mechanics? So did you guys understand why we use this expectation value for our quantum system? And do you guys have any problem grasping this concept of expectation value of physical properties of that quantum particle? No one? Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Bhaiya.
So how to find the expectation value? So we will remember this one. We will use this thing. Okay. Let's say we have a. Let's make this one. Okay. So let's say it's not this one. Something like this. This is. Okay. Wait. This thing is your psi, and you have a graph something like this. Wait, what? This is your psi of x. Okay, this is your psi. Sorry, yeah, this is your psi, and this is your x. Okay, so what's the probability of a particle being at, let's say, x naught? Let's say, so what's the probability? It's something like x naught transpose psi x naught, right? And we can say that it's psi x naught ka whole square. This was the first thing I guess I told you about this quantum mechanics, that probability, if a function is given something like this, Schrodinger equation of a particle psi x, then the probability of finding a particle at point x naught will be something like this, right? So let's work with this. Okay, let's now forgot about this thing. We will work with this. Okay, let's make it, write it here. Uh, Finding a particle at x naught is equal to psi of x naught transpose. And if you guys like have any doubts, or if you want me to repeat this thing, you can just ask me. Okay, I will repeat this thing also. Like when I was like initially introduced with this topic, I was pretty confused as well. Okay, so there's no point in saying that you will read this again. If you have any doubt, you can just ask me right now. I will clear that. Okay, so finding the particle x naught in this thing. And another thing, I am writing it this way, like finding a particle at x naught, but actually you can't give that a particle is at x naught. It's something like finding a particle in between x naught and x1, something like this. Okay, the probability of finding this thing will be something like this thing. If we make a graph of wait, sorry, uh sorry, yeah, wait, let me make another graph, something, wait, something like, wait, let's make it thinner, something like this. Good, I can make a different graph for that thing. Just remember that I am using this like particle in x naught is equal to this for the reference of making the expectation value formula. Okay, actually if you want to find the probability, you won't get like finding a probability at x naught. You will get this thing as close to zero. Okay, so what we do is we find the probability of finding a particle in a range, something like a range of x naught to x1. It's this thing is mod psi square, and this thing is your x. Then this area will be the probability of finding the particle between x naught and x1. Okay, and you can say that if you have this, then area under this curve will be equal to 1, as probability of finding it between minus infinity to infinity should be 1. Okay, so for now, remember that we use this, but for our formula extraction, I am just using this. It's theoretical, totally theoretical. Okay, so what can I say? If you have a x naught is something like this, so just using this formula, this one, that what's the like what we are expecting thing, and probability of that thing. Okay, so here what we are observing the position. So it will be something like expectation value will be something like x naught into probability of that being x naught with a summation for all x naught. Okay, just give this thing a look and ask if you don't get this thing. Like, okay, wait, I can do one thing is replace this one and make it something like, wait, I should totally change this. It won't be summation, but I can write expectation value of x will be equal to sum of x naught into p of x naught, and it can be written as integration minus infinity to infinity x p of x naught into d of x. You can think this as for all x naught p of x naught. Okay, just give this thing a look and ask if you are confused. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, px not equals to psi dagger into psi.
yeah.
Okay.
This thing is px naught. This thing is px naught. Probability of x naught. The same thing I have written it here. Like finding the particle at x naught is probability of finding the particle. Okay, so you can relate this with this thing, right? It's similar, and for here we had a like discrete value 1 2 3 4 5, but here we have a continuous value. That's why we will use integration. Okay, this is p of x naught. So we can now do, sorry, x. Okay, what we can do is minus infinity to infinity x. What's this thing? It's psi dagger x psi x dx. Okay, this thing, right? And we can this is your expectation value AXPCT. On what's your probability uh, of finding from minus infinity to infinity psi star x psi x dx is equal to 1, right? As I told you guys earlier that minus infinity to infinity will be 1. So I can write this too. Like for single one, it's something like this, and if we multiply it with dx and integrate minus infinity to infinity, it will be 1, right? So we can use this uh, thing. Okay, wait. So now let's try to arrange these in bra and get representation. What's bra psi? It's just psi, right? It's kind of psi, but not actually. Wait. And sorry, and what's this psi? This is something like this. That okay. Uh, so wait. Let me just make this thing, and we will try to make it in a bra and cat situation. Okay. So from here what we do sorry, for this one what we do is we write psi for this psi, and we write this psi is equal to 1, just like that. We make our bra and psi in such a way that bra psi ket psi means integration minus infinity to infinity psi star x psi dagger s psi x dx. So the one I was using in QC came from this definition. Okay, why am I writing uh, kind of this thing? Okay, sorry for this alignment. It's something like this. Okay, uh, so we can write this one as what can I say? Expectation is equal to integration minus infinity to infinity. Yours, so it was x psi dagger x psi x dx. You can write it as minus infinity to infinity psi star x x psi x dx. Then you can do is sorry you can do is try x try, which is defined as minus infinity to infinity psi dagger into this thing into x x into psi dx, something like this. Okay, so I will write this thing here. Psi is minus infinity to infinity psi dagger x psi x dx psi x psi is minus infinity to infinity psi dagger x x side x dx. Okay, so this is your this should be equal to 1 as it's from minus infinity to infinity, and this will give you the expectation value of x, and we represent it in this way. Like we ignore this shy this thing and this thing, and we just uh, write this one, this one, and this one. It's just a representation. Okay, so it's just a representation. That's it. Where is it? This can also be written as x. So did you guys get how we get this equation as the expectation value, or do you guys have any doubt? Like I will show the whole thing once. I can't show the whole thing, but yeah. Do you guys have any doubt? Like how did I get anything like change the things and get to that equation? Okay, no one. So let me introduce one more thing. That's called that's something like psi x psi is your expectation of x, right? And x is a position operator, something like that. So what we can say is that you x psi, wait, not like this. I can say that this is a separate thing, and then we took a dot product, something like taking into matrix format. Okay, initially it was in mathematical formulas and something. Now I will work with matrix format. Okay, so it's something like x psi. I can write something like that, dot product x psi, and I can say that this x is taking this this state, this quantum state, to another quantum state psi dash, and this psi dash is defined as x psi. Okay, I can use this thing as I told you guys earlier, that every gate or something like matrix can be taken as this transformation from the quantum like vector space. Okay, so we can say that this is a state and we are taking a dot product with this state, something like this, and this is equal to your expectation value of x. And from here we can say that, wait, I guess I missed something, just give me a minute. Yeah, okay, uh, just for this one. Okay, ignore this thing. Ignore this thing. We can say that it's a transformation from psi x to psi x dash, and what we can say that taking this expectation value of x, we can replace this x with another operator, something like o. Okay, this was for this I calculated this expectation value, this formula for x, right? But if you see, x can be replaced with another operator as well, like for this thing, x is an operator. Sorry, wait. I have written it here. X is an operator that takes psi to a specific state psi dash. But what if I have something, a different operator? I can use that too. Like if I have a operator something like O, not O. Let's take that H matrix, H gate. Then it takes it to psi dash, and we can say that this psi dash is equal to H dot psi, this thing, right? Let's if psi is 0 1 0, then this whole thing will be something like 1 by under root 2 1 1. So it's a different state, so it's psi dash, something like that. So we can say that too. So if we like take our dot product of this psi dash with this thing, we can say that it's something like h, then dot product with psi. So we can say that it's a expectation value of h, and it's written as h, right? We can say that too. Okay, just like x, we can say that for h also. So just like this x thing, we can find, we got a general formula for finding expectation value of an operator. Okay, let's say you have an operator O. O is the operator, then expectation value of O is equal to this psi O psi, and this can be written as psi dash, where O psi is equal to psi dash, psi dash. And one more thing, from here we can also say that in equation form, expectation value of O will be equal to minus infinity to infinity. For this, for this one, operator one and vector space, this O is matrix. But if we go back to this one, this Schrodinger equation thing, it will be a equation. It will be something like equation. Okay, so it will be psi transpose x, then this function of O as a function of x, then you will get psi x dx. So we got a general uh, wait, what? Uh, we got a general formula for finding our expectation value. Okay, so are you comfortable with this thing for now? Like expectation value of O will be psi bra psi O ket psi, and in numerical value it will be psi star x operator, like equation of that operator in polynomial or anything as a function of x, then psi x dx.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So this is how we find our expectation value of a state. It's till here everything was for quantum mechanics. You guys will learn these thing in like third semester, sorry, fifth semester, when Suprumitra will take your class. No, Suprumitra not. Our DOA, Soumitra Banerjee. He will take your classes on this thing, and he will teach you everything about this expectation value. Okay. Right now I have just given like overview or something. So how to use this thing for our advantage of finding our eigenvalue of a state. Okay. So how do we define an eigenvalue or an eigenvector of a state, of a matrix? Let's say we have a matrix M, and uh, it's acting on a state. Let's say it's 2 cross 2 matrix. No, I shouldn't do that. N cross n matrix, maybe bigger, n cross n matrix, and it's acting on a vector n cross 1, and it gave us a lambda, and we get our v n cross 1 back. So this is your, what can I say, eigenvalue, and this is your eigenvector. Okay, so if you see, if you find the expectation value of M, what will you get? What's the expectation value of M again? You take a psi, wait, this is psi of, let's say this is also a 1 cross n. This is your M, n cross n. This is your psi, n cross 1. This is your expectation value of M. If I take a psi in this way, okay, so this is for a specific psi. Like a specific psi, you will get a specific expectation value. If you have a different psi, let's say psi dash, you will get different expectation value, n cross 1, something like this. Okay, so for every state you have a different different, what can I say, expectation value. Like let's say psi 1 can be something like this, and psi 2 can be something like this. So expectation value of position for this one will be something around here, and for this one it will be something around here, right? So expectation value of any operator or any matrix or any uh, what can I say, any function depends on that psi as well. Okay, so I can write this thing. So what if this psi n cross 1 is an eigen vector of our matrix M n cross n? We can write M psi n cross 1 is equal to something lambda not uh, make it a lambda psi n cross 1, right? And if we then do this thing, this is psi 1 cross n, this is, what is this, lambda psi n cross 1. And if this is a matrix multiplication like dot product, this lambda can be taken outside, right? So it's this psi 1 cross n dot product psi n cross 1. So you will get lambda as the expectation value of E. Sorry, uh, expectation value of your M, right? And you can check this for your this to this from this integration thing as well. Like if you have psi dagger lambda psi, then lambda will come outside, and this will be 1 as integration psi dagger psi dx will be equal to 1. You have a lambda outside, then this will be equal to lambda as this thing is equal to 1. Okay, so this thing can be seen in the matrix form as well as the numerical form too. Okay, so if this psi n cross 1 is a eigen vector of matrix M, you can find a lambda. The expectation value of the matrix will be a lambda, right? So what if I make a code, like make a program, let's say make a program that takes M no sorry, which takes psi and find its eigen, no, not eigen value, find its expectation value of your M, then returns it. It will be something like let's make a program in our this thing like Python. So we will write def eigen expectation, sorry, expectation take psi. It's a vague representation of definition in Python, so don't take it too seriously, like how will you will put psi. And if you really want to put psi, you can do something like take a matrix and transpose something like this, something like this. You can put a matrix in definition of this Python. So for now, just let it be psi. So take psi, then it find if M is defined earlier, M is some matrix and cross n matrix. So it finds psi M psi, and it xp is equal to it return x. Okay, so if we define this thing, it will return our x. And now if we define like what can I say, we have a set of psi. infinite number of set of side from like, let's say every psi we can get. Okay, psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, dot 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 psi infinity. If we see this psi as a matrix, so we can say that there will be a psi something not that that will give the expectation value of this m to be lowest, right? Did you guys understand this thing? Like, there will be a psi naught in this infinite number of, let's say we have every possible psi that can exist in n cross 1 form, and we have a set of it. So there will be a psi naught for that our m will, sorry, the expectation value of m will be the lowest eigen value of m, right? We can say that. Just say yes if you agree with this statement.
Yes.
Other three? Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you agree with this statement that there will be a psi. So if I say something like that, for I in range length of, let's say, make it a, let's call this thing, not call this thing set, let's say we can call it psi. Psi is a set, length of wait, psi is equal to this, for I in range length of this psi double dot, what was the function? It was exp, then we psi I in that, and our lambda is this, lambda min, sorry, let's say lambda min is this, and then we write, wait, wait, I can't do this. Lambda is this, and I define lambda min is equal to, let's say, infinity. We can't define it infinity. Let's define a very large number, and here say if lambda is less than lambda min, then lambda min is equal to lambda. So if I run this statement and print your lambda min, I should get this thing, right? It's looping around for this whole psi set, right? Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So this code would work for finding, wait, where is it? This piece of code would work in finding the minimum eigen value of that matrix M, right? If the only condition is if we have all the states in our psi, what can I say, psi set. But if you know, there is like, if I showed you in the lecture 2 or something, that the vector space Q is like infinite, like literally infinite, countable or uncountable, I don't know, but it's infinite. Like the length of this thing is infinite. Okay, so we can't do this thing. We can't have all our psi in this thing. So what we do is do a little trick. What we do? Let's see. We make a optimization program. Just for clarification, did you guys understand everything till this? Till this, like finding the minimum value from this set. Yes or no,
Yes,
please?
yes, I did.
Okay. So I will be like covering the whole optimization thing in the next lecture, but to give a vague representation, what do I mean by this is taking a random psi, putting it in this something like let's say we say while so for I in range 1000, what I do is I define a random psi is equal to random psi. What I do is do this thing and say this I won't be writing the actual code here. I will be just writing change the psi a bit. I will talk about this. How will you change the psi a bit so that you get the like the lower lambda, but it's optimization thing. Okay, so change psi a bit, then find this expectation value of m with this new psi. Let's say define psi is equal to psi, and your m is equal to your lambda is equal to this, and you have a lambda min defined earlier as 1000. This is just a vague representation. Actually, we don't define lambda min and anything like that. Just for this is just for like understanding purposes. Okay, so it's something like this. A lambda is defined as this. Now, if lambda is less than lambda min, the same thing, lambda min is equal to lambda. So for 1000 iterations, for 1000 looping, you will get different lambda, different psi being changed a bit in a way optimization in a way that you will get the next lambda to be less than lambda min, something like that. So we will be using a looping thing, something like where is it, something like this. We get into the loop, we have our psi, we check its lambda, then again we go into the loop, we change our psi a bit, then the new psi is psi dash, then we check for it, then we check for another psi, we check for another psi, we change a bit, check for other psi, and something like that. Okay, so if if uh, if we are like have good optimization, we can land on something psi with which, what can I say, like psi m psi, which is kind of like equal to, like more or less equal to that lambda min, actual lambda min. That let's call it psi naught m psi. Okay, so by changing a bit, we can get this thing. Okay, so I will talk about this how to change this lambda and other things to get as close as lambda min. Okay, so for a representation thing, what we do is define our psi, put it in the expectation value psi uh, psi this thing m psi. If it's less, then we continue. If it's larger, like lambda is less than lambda min, we continue with that lambda. And if it's lambda is greater than lambda minimum, then we discard that new lambda, sorry, the new psi. Something like this. We use this thing like finding a new psi that has a minimum minimum that has a lambda which is less than the previous lambda minimum. Something like, are you getting the point? Right. Let's say this is n plus 1, then it's lambda n plus 1 is less than lambda n, and lambda n plus 1 is greater than lambda n, something like this. So if we do this for like 1,000 or more or less 10,000 of iteration, we will land up on some psi that's close to that psi naught. Do you guys understand this thing, like how this thing will work? Hello?
No, actually,
Yes,
I
I
didn't.
understood.
I didn't get this one.
Okay, so let's understand this with a random walk, something like this. Uh, this is your random walk that start with 0, and we want it to be as close as -10. Okay, so let's say it says that the random walk is in 2D, sorry, 1D. Here or here, it can move forward or backward. Okay, so what does this thing says? This thing says that if it moves backward, like let's say this is psi starting psi. Okay, if it moves backward, then we take that psi and make it our new origin, and this will be transformed as -9, something like this. And if it jumps in this way, we will neglect this one, and we will try finding another psi that goes in this direction. I shouldn't use it as psi. Okay, so for a random walk, let's say we get a walk that's in this direction. So if it jumps in this direction, we take it and we start from this position. And if it wants to jump this way, we neglect this one. So uh, like after 10 or 11 iterations, it will be something like this. It will be on, let's say it's -10, it's 2, and it's 0. It will be something at this position, as we are not allowing it to jump in the right direction. Okay, do you guys get do you get this thing, like why it will be in this position if you don't allow it?
Yeah, I get this.
Yeah, so if we repeat, this is after, let's say, 10 times. Okay, so if I let this thing repeat for like 1,000 times, so you will get a position with a condition that if it's equal to -10, then stop, something like this. So eventually if not -10, you will get at least at -9, won't you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so something like this we are applying for this one. If the new psi gives us a we change something in our psi, and if it gives us a lambda that's lesser than the previous one, we change that psi a bit and work on that. And if it gives a psi lambda that's greater than the previous one, we discard it and we work on the previous one, and try looping it around and around and around, so that at at like something like 1,000 and 10,000 iteration, you can get as close as that sign off. Do you guys do you get this thing now? Like why for uh, multiple number of iteration it will go closer and closer to sign off.
Yeah, I now
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. So this is something like this thing is like brute force method. Okay, this is brute force method of finding your psi. For the next class, I will explain what's optimization, and how you won't have to do this thing. You will eventually step, if you have this thing -10 and 0, you will eventually only step in this direction, as the optimization allows you to move in this direction only, something like that. Okay, so I guess it's done for today, and if you guys have any question, you can ask me. Like do you guys properly understood how can we find the minimum eigenvector of a matrix M using this quantum computation? Like right now it's quantum mechanics, but when we will implement it on quantum computer, it will be quantum computation. Okay, so I will do that in the next class. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Anyone? Okay, like if you want me to discuss any specific topic once more, you can ask that too. Like it's kind of a new concept, so you guys can get stuck. I can't believe that every one of you got the whole thing. Well, it's good that you guys got all the things, but if you guys have any question, you can ask. Okay, so I wasn't able to see this why do we need to find the minimum expectation value? Okay, so as I said it here, minimum expectation value will give us the minimum lambda of this M. So for the, what can I say? So if it's not this one, if it's a general question that why would we bother to find the minimum value of a matrix, so the answer to that one,
That's my question actually. Like,
yeah,
why
so
we need to find?
yeah, why would we want to do that, right? So the thing is, the minimum uh, eigen value in physics and chemistry correspond to lots of things. If you see, if you will, what can I say? Like, like I said it here. What I, like as I said it here, like this thing x can be x can be taken as a operator or something like that. Okay, so if we have a matrix, that's our x that gives a position. Like this x is that expectation of position. If we convert this x into our like matrix representation thing, then we can get that x into psi, where psi will be our the minimum eigenvector, something like that. Then we will get a lambda psi naught. Let's say it's a minimum. So we get a position that has the minimum value. So for minimum value of position, it doesn't matter. We don't want to calculate that. The main trick comes with energy operator. Just like this, we can have an energy operator. What does this do? It's called Hamiltonian. What does it do? Is it takes a psi, a Hamiltonian takes a psi, and find like it gives us the energy of this state and return the state itself, something like this. So eigen value of Hamilton is energy of that state psi. This is what's defined in quantum mechanics. It's something like this. Okay, so if we can represent our h in a matrix form, like what can I say, this operator thing in quantum quantum computer, we can make it a matrix form. Like don't mix it with the what can I say, the that H gate.
The Hadamard gate.
Yeah,
No.
sorry, yeah, Hadamard gate. It's Hamiltonian. I will do something like this. Okay,
Get like the
so
minimum energy of the system by
yeah,
this.
yeah. So if let's say we have a molecule like lithium and uh, like no, let's start with this hydrogen and hydrogen thing. Okay, if we have this thing and this is hydrogen, and we form a Hamiltonian for this hydrogen, uh, and a psi for that. No, let's not go into this one. Okay, wait, this will be complicated. Let's not go that way. I can explain it in a different way too. Let's say we have hydrogen atom. Okay, uh, its nucleus, and its electron. So as you guys know right now, that electron is for in an atom is not like kind of a particle. It behaves in a wave thing, and it can have a probabilistic nature. Like it can be in something like S cloud. In a S cloud, that's sphere. It can be in that P state, that's dumbbell shape. It can be in that this state. So, oh, sorry. So it can be in this state, something like this. So what is all these states? These are the probability of electron being in there. Okay, so it's not a particle like it will be here or here. It can be in something a space, something like this. Okay, so what we want is we want that our find a state psi in which uh, no wait, not that. What we want is we want to simulate our our hydrogen atom, and with this Hamiltonian H of this electron state, we can say that if we apply it on psi, it will give us energy and this psi. And if we try to find this psi naught, and this is ground state energy, this E naught is the ground state energy, this is psi naught, and this is H. So this eigenvalue will be the minimum, right? This is minimum. So in for this thing, we simulated this atom, that's an electron, and those are like something like quantum particles on a quantum computer, right? So we use the quantum property of our this qubit to simulate the quantum property of an electron, something like that. This psi is the state of electron, like being in this orbital, being in this orbital, being in this orbital, or being in uh, the first radius, the second radius, something like that. Electron can be on the second radius also. N is equal to 1, it can be at n is equal to 0, it can be n is equal to 3. Everything can be possible with a different energy, right? So it can be in a state where it's between these two, something like in superposition, it's here and here also, and that state has the minimum energy, something like that. But classically we can't say that it's here or here. We can only say that it's here, either here, not in the combination of. So using this quantum chip, we can simulate that too. So for hydrogen it's easier, but if we go into like something like CH4 or this N2 or H2O and O2, something like a higher number of electron system, how they interact with each other, something like that. So finding the minimum energy for these things with a quantum computer that has a quantum property in it would be like more easier than simulating it on classical computer, right? Do you guys agree? Yes or no?
Yeah.
I don't actually understand like this part. Like
Okay, so
why would a classical computer like not be able to compute this? Why would
okay,
that?
so classical computer will be able to simulate it, but it will for let's say uh, uh, a a molecule that's something like uh, CH sorry, C6H12, something like this. It will take more time to simulate this than a classical computer, right? As you will see that the C itself has a like say, well, how many electrons do C have? I don't remember. Six, I guess six. Yeah. So we have a 6 into 6, that's 36 electrons. We have one electron that for hydrogen, then hydrogen has 12 electrons. So these electrons will interact with each other, form superposition with each other, and will be in a superposition state with a different radius and different orbitals, right? But classically, in classical computer, that won't be easier for the classical computer to compute, as it will have to first compute for specific state, then specific state, then specific state, then combine all these. Like it will be easier if a quantum computer is like entangled in its own way and do its superposition thing to resemble the superposition of an electron, something like this.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it can be done using classical computer, but it will take time. That's my point. That's why people are like saying that you can use this quantum computer in medical field. Why are they saying that? Because you can simulate a molecule and find its ground energy state, find its first excited state, find its like what can I say, the chemical reactions, energies, and other things in quantum computer may much more faster than the classical computer can, right? And this finding the eigenvalue of this thing of a matrix is the first step to that. Okay, from this one I will go to finding the ground state of hydrogen as well, but for now let's stick with finding the like lowest and lowest lambda of this m. Did that answer your question?
Hi, it did. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay, so any more questions? Like anything related to this one? Like why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Something, anything? No? Is there anything in the chat? Okay, no. So I would end this here. But if you guys have any question while like thinking about it, you can ask me as well. Okay. Like just message me or just message it on the group. I will explain it there, or I will make a meet call with you and I will explain it there too. Okay. So and what about tomorrow? Will you guys be free tomorrow to do that this quantum mechanics thing on converting this quantum mechanics thing into quantum computation? I should stop recording for now.